What is up, MYTHGARDians? Cool Cat here with another MYTHGARD deck. Today we're focusing on a green and purple ramp list. So we're going to be controlling the board early and start dropping bombs around turn 4 or 5 and really use that power to close out the games. So same as always, we're going to jump into the list and then go into a few replays and then a little conclusion at the end. All right, you guys, so going into the list, we're going to start with the path and the power. For the path, we went with Turn of Seasons. It's just a great overall path that doesn't, our deck doesn't really focus on anything that the other paths would help us out with. We are not going to want to bounce things back into our hand with Journey. We're not playing any enchantments or any artifacts or anything like that. So the Turn of the Seasons is just a really great standard mid-range path. To help you get some card draw, heal your board, and then of course you have the winter. All of your minions have fragile, but our deck doesn't really have any trouble with that. All of our guys have pretty big amounts of health, so that's not really too much of an issue for us. And then for our power, we have Impel. Impel is going to be great with a couple of key cards in our deck, and it'll also allow us to just get around any blockers so that our big boys can start swinging face as soon as possible. And then going into the list, we're going to start with our ramp. We have 3 of the Grinning Kolobok. That's going to be our main ramp card. Drop this on 1 and then kill it off for maybe an extra 1 or 2 permanent mana. So this is going to go into your mana for the rest of the game, and it's extremely great to get this down early and get it ramping up. And then our other option is going to be the Imperative Bell. So you throw this down, you choose a minion, and then when that minion dies you get 2 temporary mana, and then you can play a card at that point, or you can pass it and that mana will come back to you on the next turn. So if you throw this down on one of your Koloboks, it's really great because it curves right into each other. So you throw this down on your Kolobok, and that's going to get you, maybe 4 or 5 extra mana, and then you can drop some really big stuff really early. I've dropped Jin-sook dollmaster on turn 3, for example, just to get some really powerful stuff down really fast. Then we have our early game control strategy with our gallows boy, just a really good minion to keep board control. We have detained and deported, of course. You're going to run 4 of these in any green based deck. It's just an amazing board control package. And then you have you're led astray. You can run multiple of these. I only have 1 copy, so I only play 1 copy. But this is really good with some other options in our deck, and even our detained to get some of the big guys, get their attack less than 4, so we can play this on them. Even with the rogue vocaloid, which locks the enemy minion's attack to 0. So it combos really well with that. And then, we also have our other board control tools in the hotel barkeep. It's just a really fat butt on a minion. And then you also get an extra impel out of it for free. And then our Pentacle of Flavors, the Blast 5, going to control 3 lanes at once. We also have the Night Hag, which is going to control any early big boys the opponents can play. If they're going to be playing a recursion deck, anything that pops out of their graveyard a little early, that'll control that. And then moving forward, we have our big drops that we're really looking to use to close out the game. We have 2 of the Volkov Heavy, 5/5 armor 1 overrun, really good against token decks with the armor and then the overrun as well. And then you have 2 of the windfuries. This is going to be really key to get some additional board control, as well as some extra face damage with frenzy and 4 attack. That's nothing to sneeze at. It also has swift and blast 2, so that'll affect the surrounding lanes. And then we also have 2 of the Indrik Beast, 9/7 warded overrun, 8 mana. You normally don't see this outside of any sort of recursion reanimator decks. But you can get this guy out really quick with the Kolobobs and the bells. And then we're also going to run 2 of the terragon, giving some extra overrun to some of our big boys that don't have the overruns. Going to help us close out a lot of games we would normally lose. And then we're also running jin-sook dollmaster, one of the only mythics in the list other than our vocaloid. So this guy can just really get stuff taken care of. It's not unheard of at all in this list to get that extra brand to return a minion to the owner's hand. You can get this guy down super early, which will let you control the board and, you know, ramp up to your even bigger guys. And then we also have 2 of the Lantern Colossus. The Immolation Cloak is a great board control tool, and a 5/7 with Overrun is just amazing on the board to close out games. We also have our ved'ma Flamespar. You know, it's really good once you have a large amount of mana. You know, drop this on turn 8, deal 4 damage, clearing off some blockers, or just deal that extra 4 damage face. And then I think that'll be all of the cards. We have the gamayun to smooth out our draws, and it's also great to have the Agile with the Pentacle of Flavor. Is a really good combo. We also have Respawn. So this is going to be really good to put on your bigger purple cards, like your Lantern Colossus and your Terragons, because once they are respawned, it'll actually give you another item. So that'll give you another Adamant Pearl, it'll give you another Immolation Cloak, and then you also just have another big fat body for the opponent to deal with. But that is the list here, so we're going to go ahead and jump into some replays and see what it can do. Alright, so the first game we're going into is going to be against Merlini X. They were playing a orange-green recursion deck, looking to discard some big cards and bring them back with a couple of good options. We have both Grinning Koloboks in our opening hands, well, 2 of them. So we're going to drop one on 1, drop the other on 2, and then really just get our ramp going. So we move them around to get that energy up. Drop another one, and then we can burn a pentacle so that we can have a purple gem for one of our big guys, either the terragon or the Lantern Colossus. They dropped the Sugar Plum Fairy, which is it's a kind of an underrated card. I think the 2/1 is kind of a little expensive for 2 mana, you know, but we'll go ahead and pop them over, trade in to get that guaranteed mana from the first Kolobok. And then it starts to get a little tricky here. They let astray the Kolobok, which means that we don't get the extra 2 mana from the energy, which kind of hurts us a little bit, but we did get the 1, so we have enough for 1 big boy to come out a little early. It's about a turn early for him, so that's just going to put a lot of pressure on our opponent right away. And they drop a 3/1 blocker, which is really great because we have Overrun on this Volkov heavy, so that'll get 4 damage in right away, and then he'll survive with 2 health after the trade. And then we'll throw it on the Lantern Colossus on the 2/1, another Overrun on a 1 health creature. It's just going to be pushing a lot of face damage really quickly. So it looks like they do trade that off so that they can drop the Marty Core right in front of our Lantern Colossus, giving them a pretty good trade and clean kill on the Volkov heavy. But we're going to go ahead and drop the respawn, so once we do get the trade, we'll get another 1 back and another Immolation Cloak, like I said before, and then we'll raid some tombs and draw some cards. And then we'll also go ahead and drop this Gallows boy so that we can have something to trade into anything that they were to play on this desert enchantment here. And then they do drop the Avenging Alpha, which is going to be a tough trade for our Lantern. But what we do is just use our impel power to move it right over and then throw down our vocaloid right in front of that 6/6, making it a 0/6 and get a really easy trade. We'll drop the Immolation Cloak on the 2/2 here, the Gallows boy, to get the free clear on the board again so that we can swing face for free. And then our opponent does make a misplay here, I would think. The Blastery on the Vocaloid is going to make this a really easy clear. And then he is going to get the Marty Core back, and then he deals the 2 to our Lantern Colossus. But we'll go ahead and throw our Pentacle on there, swinging 11 at him, and then with the Overrun is going to do a lot of damage right to their face. And then we'll draw some more cards, so then we'll have some more options to play later on. And then they bring back the Avenging Alpha, as well as the another Hopeless Necro, which isn't going to do them any good because we can just easily break through the rest with our Lantern Colossus, giving us pretty exact lethal. I think we're 1 over lethal on here, but yeah, easy game. So let's go ahead and jump into one more not so easy game and see how it can play out. Alright, so this round we're going to be going up against Andy War. They're going to be playing a red-orange aggro rush deck. So we'll see how this deck can handle some early pressure and then turn it into something a little different towards the late game. So we have double Koloboks in our hand again opening up. So we'll drop 1 on 1, 1 on 2, and then see where it goes from there. See, so they drop the trapezist, get the free kill on the first Kolobok. So what we do is, of course, drop another one. See what they can do about a second Kolobok there. And then they do end up having double daring trapezist there to clear both of our Koloboks, putting us in a pretty bad spot. They have full initiative on their aggro deck, and that makes it a little more difficult on the control side of things. So we'll drop the barkeep here and then use that for health to try to control the right side of the board as best we can. And then they drop the bull down to help cycle and filter their hands and make sure that they don't have any dead cards. And right now we're really just looking to control the board as best we can, so we'll drop this Night Hag down to stun the bull, which is also going to stop them from being able to use their ability to filter out their hand. We'll move the barkeep over, kill the trapezist, and then they will easily kill our Night Hag, which makes us kind of sad. But, you know, it's they always have the counterplay here with the initiative-based red-orange rush deck that they're playing. And then we do start to be able to see how the rest of the game's going to get played out. We have a few big guys in our hand right now. We're going to be drawing a couple more with this Raid the Tombs to really help us move forward into the late game and hopefully drop this jin-sook down to start getting control back in this game. And they start going wide with the tokens, which is good news for us with this pentacle of flavors. If we ever need it, we have the answer, but we will definitely be dropping this dollmaster here and start clearing off these tokens. We'll use our ramen to jump over, clear out that 1/1, and then play the dollmaster, get the free trade on the bull with the 0 attack from the -2/-2, which they will get the free trade with the zealot, but that is not a problem at all. But they drop the Slayer 3 on the dragon there to kill our jin-sook. So what we will have to do at this point is kill that dragon so that overrun doesn't do any more damage, and then start filtering out our draws and making sure that we only draw gas from here on out. So we have a couple of options in our hand. We have some removal, some card draw, and then just a big fat body to drop down. So I'm not too worried about this moving forward. So we have a really easy clear with the pentacle and the agile. It's a very good combination to make sure you get that blast off, and you can also make sure you attack an empty board. We filter out our draws again, and just keep doing everything we can to control this board state and make sure that they don't get too far ahead so that our big guys don't just die or get run around. They bounced the gamayun back to our hand, but then we can just play it again for free, so it's not that big of a deal. It does lose the Pentacle of Flavors buffs, but, you know, there are worse things that could have happened. So we can drop the Immolation Cloak right there, get the free kill on the trapezists, and now we have full control over the board except for the far left lane, which we can easily drop a Vocaloid down there if they drop any big stuff. So they're just going to keep trying to push damage. I'm getting pretty low. They drop down the pup, so that'll help them heal back up from our overrun damage we're about to be putting down here. But we do have the ved'ma, so we can clear off both of these little dinky boys and then send that lantern colossus face with some overrun and an extra 4 damage face from the gamayun, and then filter out our draws and see what they have to play here. So of course they play some rush stuff and clear off some of our smaller guys, but they can't clear off the bigger guys, and that's all we really care about. So we can drop down the vocaloid there, swing some more damage face, filter out our draws, move this guy over so we're not losing value on the immolation cloak hitting an empty lane, and then drop down that last bit of damage just to make sure that we can send this gamayun face in case anything gets blocked too hard. So that puts us in the perfect spot. Gamayun can just swing into that open lane, but of course we gotta play a couple extra stuff here to make sure any tricks up their sleeve, and that's game. So that's the deck. So it's pretty simple. You play early stuff early, your late stuff early as well because it's a ramp deck, but you just control the board early, drop your big guys in the early mid game, and then just start pushing for that face damage with those big guys and that early board control as soon as you can to close out the game pretty quickly. You will get outvalued by control decks if you let them do their thing, so you really are going to be the aggro deck in those matchups. Against aggro decks, you're going to be the control matchup to try to control the board and let them run out of stuff until you start dropping your big guys down and just really getting back in the control into the power position once they run out of their resources and they can't rush into your big guys anymore. So let me know what you think in the comments, if you would have any changes you would make. This was a collection based deck. There's a lot of upgrades you could do that I just don't have in my collection. There's only 2 mythics. I'm sure you could fit a lot more green mythics in there, maybe some more purple mythics if you did want to kind of flesh it out and optimize it. But let me know what you think in the comments. Like if you like, and subscribe for more MYTHGARD content, and always remember, thumbs up for Matt.